Supernatural Season 12, Episode 11, regarding Dean. Really enjoyed this episode. Definitely had some good, funny elements to it with Dean losing his memory throughout the episode and just asking questions repeatedly and doing stuff repeatedly. Definitely a funny one. We got to see Rowena, which is really good because we haven't seen her in quite a while. It feels like it's been forever since we've seen Rowena, and it kind of sucks that it's not during a main story episode because that's kind of been her whole thing, is that she wanted to stay out of it. And I was like, it would have been really cool if she had to come back for a main episode, but she didn't die in this, so I'm sure we'll see her in the main episode very soon anyway. But it was good to see her in general, to have her come in. I love the fact that with Dean, forgetting everything, he was really nice to her and stuff, and she's like, man, I kind of don't want to change him around. And she kind of alluded to certain stuff at the end where she's like, if you happen to remember certain things, you'll let me know. And they have a scene, or like a shot during like the ending silly sequence of like memories and flashes through the episode. The part where she like boops him on the nose, I don't remember seeing that. I could have looked down because it was her just doing that. So I may have missed that when it happened, but I feel like that may have been a reference to what she was talking about. But you guys can let me know if I just missed that scene. But I really enjoyed the way they did this one, and they're dealing with witches, and we find out that they're really powerful witches, that Rowena happens to even know, and she thought, I thought it was just rumors and gossip that any of them were even alive. So it was kind of cool. They went back pretty far as magic goes, and now they have this dark grimoire, which I'm sure it's not the last that we've seen of that thing. Rowena may or may not need to use it in the future to help them solve some other issue, and then she'll have her chance to steal it, because she totally gave it back without putting up any sort of fight at the end of this episode. But I think it's mostly due to the fact that she knew, because she said it earlier, it's like, it's always nice to have, a Winchester owe you one. And I think that's why she did it, because she's like, alright, I don't want to have like this huge issue right now. Her being her, she's probably already thinking ahead, like, I'll just get it later. So, they still owe her because she didn't put up a fight with it. So I feel like that's part of what, why they had to do that. And that's probably what they'll say is the reason when she finally shows up again. But I still really enjoy it. Like, she has to come to the mission to help them out. Of course, Dean is losing his memory, and it starts off really funny, but the scene where he's in the mirror was like really, really sad. Like, and he's going through and he's saying his name, and then he couldn't even remember just to say my name. And I was like, that's like really sad. I was like, this is a really intense moment that they were having. But I love that sequence. And then of course Sam has to go out on this mission by himself because he can't take Dean with him, and he doesn't trust Rowena to go with him. So he leaves them behind, but of course things go south, and while they're on the phone, and he ends up being captured, and he's supposed to be the resurrection sacrifice for these other two witches so that they can get their brother back. And I thought that was really interesting because I don't think we've seen magic like that from just witches in a book. So I thought that was very cool. And that might possibly be something that comes up later on because the spell's simply in the book. So I don't know if they'll touch on that in the future, but I'm sure in some form that book is going to come back. But it was cool to see the way that they did it. And, Sam gets captured and Rowena has to go in to try to save him. And, Dean wakes up in the car and he's like reading the letters and stuff. It says stay, and then he ends up getting out anyway. And they still put notes like, not this gun, but use this one, which killing bullets. And I love the way they did it, where Rowena was captured, and then Dean comes in, and the one's like, oh, so you got a gun, you think that'll do something? And he just holds up witch killing bullets. And it seemed like she was just like, oh, like she knew she was about to die, because I swear she just kind of looked at Rowena and just shrugged like, like she knew she was dead, and she didn't put up any sort of fight, and he kills her. And then, even funnier was when Sam fights the other witch, and they're both on the stairs, and it was almost like the doppelganger thing, where it's like, I don't know which one to shoot, but like Sam knew exactly what to say, and the other witch would have been, because anyone would be confused, like, why the F did he just say that? And he's like, not me, like, brother, witch. And he was like, okay. And he just shot him. And I was like, that was just really silly the way they did it. And he's just like, cool. And he, like, gives him the thumbs up and stuff. And I was like, that was just really funny, the way that they did it. But it was a very serious moment because it was like, we got to rely on Dean, who doesn't know what the F is happening. He doesn't know who to shoot and how to shoot. And it's just like, I hope it works. And it did. So I thought it was really funny the way that they resolved everything. Just the way it starts with Dean losing his memories, and he just wakes up in this random park, and the woman thinks he's a bum, and he sees the woman that he slept with from the bar, and he's like, and who are you? And she slaps him straight in the face, and he just thinks, from the beginning, they're like, oh, he just got super drunk and passed out. And then they go through and it's like, she ends up apologizing to him because she believes that he got roofied and actually did lose his memories that way. And it was just really silly. So I love the way they did the comedy in this episode, and they touched on some dark stuff too, like them having the dark moment with Dean by himself. But of course, they touched on the darker things that they've done, and Sam mentioning in the end, like, I was kind of envious of you in the beginning because we carry such serious weight. We've carried it forever, and you being free of that, you just seemed happy. And then Dean kind of says, like, well, it wasn't just the crappy stuff that was gone, it was everything, the good and the bad. So I thought that was cool that they actually touched on that. And of course, I don't know what Rowena was doing. It didn't go as dark as I thought, because I thought she was going like super dark with it, where she was going to try to convince him to like kill himself or something really crazy. Because I'm like, why would she go this route? But she ended up flipping it and actually saying that he did it for good reasons, and she started to tell her own story about how she kind of feels bad for some of the stuff that she's done because it was solely for herself. And I like that. I was like, that's an interesting twist, because it started where she was just like, oh, you're a horrible person, like making him feel bad and he doesn't even remember, and making him just feel like a terrible human being. And then she kind of flipped it and was like, well, I can't answer certain questions for you because I don't know anything about doing, killing these creatures and killing people to actually help. Like, I just do it because it helps me, but you and your brother are doing it to help everybody. So I love the way that it kind of flipped in the middle, where she's like, well, I can't answer that because I kind of just suck 100%, and she was, went into her own story. So it was a good episode for Rowena as well, where she talked about, not, when she was kind of at her weakest, when she went to these people and she was growling at their feet, and she was willing to like give her body up to all of them just so that they would teach her magic and stuff. And it was very interesting because they don't, they always reference it a little, and they mostly reference it when she's arguing with Crowley, where she talks about how she gave up this and gave up that, and she was so weak because of him. But this was just her by herself. She wasn't trying to demean his life or anything like that. It was just her. It probably had something to do with him, but it was just her by herself. And she's like, it was just a really low point in her life where she wanted to be powerful, and they just cast her out like, you can't even be powerful enough. So it was very cool the way that they did that, and we got a little bit of extra from Rowena, and then just seeing how they dealt with the mission in general. I think this episode was a really good side story episode. Definitely funny for sure. It's definitely had some great funny moments, including that ridiculous ending, which I loved, because it's just him riding the bull, and then it's like slow motion flashes of him like smiling and doing stupid stuff. And I just loved that ending. It was just, they just end the story, and then it's just like, here's a random song playing, and just clips, and it was just like, this is absolutely ridiculous. But I love that. Like we don't get that too often. I think we've only had it, I think we have only technically had that one other time, and it was when he did Eye of the Tiger, like seasons ago. But that's one of my favorite things too. That was, I think, funnier because he did like that whole, he knew the exact words for that song, and it just made it funnier. But this was hilarious too. I was like, there's just no real reason for this. They could have stretched out, I think it was only like maybe 30 seconds. It was probably an actual minute, close to a minute. They easily could have added any sort of content they wanted to, any sort of quick deleted scene just to, pan that out. But they're like, no, let's just end the story and just show these really silly clips and do like stupid slow motion montage shots of him doing silly stuff when he had no memory. Like watching Scooby-Doo and stuff like that. So I love that, like, just nonsense ending that they did, where it's just little flashes. Really, really funny little end cap for the episode. But definitely enjoyed this one. Definitely had some hilarious moments to it. Had some very serious moments for both Rowena, as well as, the forgetful Dean as he's going through feeling the memories leave his body and him freaking out about it. Definitely well done. So really great, filler type episode. Definitely a good one. They mentioned Mary and they mentioned Cass, and they even mentioned Kelly in this one, but of course they don't actually end up showing up, and it's just our little trio in this. But it was definitely a well done episode. Of course, would love to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts about it, what they were. And I definitely want to know how you guys feel about what they did with Dean in this episode on the more serious side of things. Like, the funny stuff, of course, that's just funny, but every once in a while we get like the really serious stuff, and it's only for a specific episode. And even though it was like that one mirror scene, and then the other stuff was with Rowena, the serious stuff. But I would love to know how you guys felt about the way they handled Dean, and even the stuff he said at the end with Sam talking to him, like, I kind of envied you for forgetting, or not having the weight of the bad stuff that we've done. We'd love to know how you guys felt about that, as well as the Rowena stuff, because it was definitely, it's definitely worth remembering, like that little story that she had. So we'd love to know how you felt about both Dean and Rowena's serious sides in this episode, and what you guys thought about the episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.